Good morning. So today we are going to discuss about horizontal curves, horizontal transition curve. Okay. So before starting the horizontal transition curve, last class we were solving some problems on widening, extra widening of pavement. So we told that there are two parts for extra widening, or extra widening can be written as the sum of mechanical widening plus psychological widening, right? And we have done one problem. So today we are going to discuss one more problem regarding that. Then we will go on to horizontal transition curve. So the question is, find the total width of a pavement on a horizontal curve for a new highway to be aligned along a rolling terrain with a rolling minimum radius. Assume necessary data. So here you are asked to find out the total width of a pavement, okay? And the given data include design speed. Assume necessary data. It is given that you can assume the necessary data. So for national highway on rolling terrain, the rolling design speed, we have discussed about the different types of terrains: rolling, plain, mountainous, steep, etc., depending on the gradient, right? So in that class, I have shown you a table regarding the design speed, okay? Depending on the terrain, what should be the design speed? So for national highways on rolling terrain, the rolling design speed is taken as V is equal to 80 km/h. The pavement width is equal to 7 meter. Design speed is 80 km/h. Pavement width is equal to 7 meter. Number of lanes N is equal to 2. And the wheelbase of the truck L is equal to 6 meter. Maximum value of super elevation E is equal to 0.07 and skid resistance F is equal to 0.15. These are the assumed data. You are assuming these data. The design speed V is equal to 80 km/h. Width of pavement W is equal to 7. Number of lanes N is equal to 2. Wheelbase of the truck L is equal to 6 meter. Maximum value of super elevation E is equal to 0.07 and skid resistance F is equal to 0.15. So the rolling radius, okay, it is given that the highway should be aligned along a rolling terrain with a rolling minimum radius. So the rolling minimum radius is equal to V square by 127 into E plus F. This is the IRC recommended formula. So substituting, V is 80 km/h, E is 0.07 and F is the coefficient of friction, that is 0.15. So the rolling minimum radius value is 230 meter. Now extra widening. For extra widening, I told that extra widening can be written as the sum of mechanical widening plus psychological widening. So extra widening is equal to NL square by 2R plus V by 9.5 root R. NL square by 2R plus V by 9.5 root R. N means number of lanes is 2. L, the length of wheelbase is 6. 2 into 6 square by 2 into R is 230 plus 80 divided by 9.5 into root of 250. So you will get the extra widening length as 0.712. So you are asked to find out the total width of pavement. So normal pavement width you have assumed as 7 meter. How the 7 meter is coming? If you remember, we were having this specification, this guideline, depending on the number of lanes. So for a 2-lane highway, it is 7 meter. For multi-lane highway, it is 3.5 meter per lane, if you remember the specification, right? So the total pavement width is taken as 7 meter plus you have to summate the extra width you have obtained. So 7 plus 7.12. So 7 plus 0.71. So that is 7.71 meter. Okay, so this is the another problem for determining the total width of pavement. Okay, so we have discussed about the extra widening of pavement. Okay, now let us start a new topic, that is about the horizontal transition curve. So a transition curve will be having a radius which will be decreasing from infinity. At the tangent point, the radius will be infinity, and to the point, any other point on the circular curve, the radius will be decreasing. Okay, radius will be infinity at the tangent point, and to another point, and at any other point on the circular curve, the radius will be decreasing. Now you are introducing a transition curve between a straight and a circular curve. You are introducing a transition curve between a straight and a circular curve. The radius of the transition curve will be decreasing and it becomes minimum at the beginning of the circular curve. Now, what is the rate of change of radius of transition curve? The rate of change of radius of transition curve will be depending on the equation of the curve or its shape. Okay. Now, what are the objects of providing a transition curve? For example, consider a case that a curve having a radius r is taking off from a straight road and the vehicle is traveling on that particular road. You know that when a vehicle is negotiating a curve, centrifugal force will be coming into position. So what will happen if immediately after the straight, a sudden curve is coming off? The centrifugal force will be experiencing and the vehicle will be facing a lateral jerk. Okay. Some kind of lateral jerking disturbance will be occurring on the curve, occurring on the vehicle, right? Actually, this not only causes discomfort to passengers, but also it will create a lot of difficulty for the driver to control the steering. Okay, so considering the safety as well as the comfort aspect of driver as well as the passengers in the vehicle, it is necessary to make sure that the transition from straight to curve is occurring smoothly. Okay, it should not be a sudden transition from a straight to curve. So in order to make sure that there is a smooth transition from straight to a curve, a transition curve need to be introduced. So the transition curve which is introduced between the straight and the circular curve will help in gradually introducing the design super elevation and extra widening as per the necessity. Okay, so these are the different objects. To introduce gradually the centrifugal force between the tangent point, there is some clarity problem with this text. Don't worry, I will share the PDF in group so you can read it better. Okay, I'm sorry. While I scanned, there occurred some clarity issues and I didn't notice it. It's my mistake. Sorry. So the centrifugal force between the tangent point and the beginning of the transition curve, there should be a gradual transition. So if there is a gradual transition, what will happen? There will not be a sudden jerk occurring on the vehicle. Now, the driver will be able to control the steering with his own comfort and safety. Okay, with great safety and comfort, the driver can be able to turn the steering. Now, to enable the gradual introduction of designed super elevation and extra widening of pavement at the part of the circular curve. Okay, so the design super elevation and extra widening of the pavement can be enabled gradually. And next one is to improve the aesthetic appearance of the road. The beauty of the road will be improved. Okay, so these are the functions of transition curve. Okay, for horizontal alignment of highway, these are the functions provided by a transition curve. Okay, so there are different types of transition curve. In the case of horizontal alignment, the different types of transition curves commonly adopted are: one is spiral. The spiral transition curve is also known as a clothoid. Another one is a lemniscate, and third one is a cubic parabola. Remember this name: spiral or clothoid, lemniscate, and cubic parabola are the three different types of transition curves. So here you can see the different types of transition curve. Only that page I just mentioned, only that page was having some clarity issues. This page is clear. Don't worry, I will upload a fresh copy in your Google Classroom. Okay, so you can have a better understanding. Okay, so here you can see that this is the cubic parabola, this is the spiral transition curve, and this is the lemniscate. Okay. Now, this question may be asked for some objective exams. Which is the ideal transition curve? Okay. So if such a question comes, which is the ideal transition curve, you should understand that spiral shape is the ideal shape for a transition curve. Now, the Indian Road Congress is recommending the use of spiral as transition curve. Okay. So Indian Road Congress is recommending the use of a spiral transition curve as ideal transition curve. I told that spiral is the ideal shape for a transition curve. Now the question is, why spiral is considered as the ideal shape for transition curve? The spiral shape will be satisfying the requirements of ideal transition. Objective of transition curve is to make the transition smoother from the straight to the circular curve. This movement or the transition or the shift need to be smoother, right? So spiral is the best shape required, best shape suitable for ideal transition. Next one is the geometric property of spiral. Okay. You know that if curve is introduced, there will be a lot of calculations, and also it need to be set out in the field, right? Besides doing paperwork or besides doing the design geometrical exercises, you have to be able to set out this curve on the field. So the spiral curve, the geometric property of the spiral curve will be enabling the calculation and setting out of the curve in a very simple and easy manner. So you can write the equation of spiral curve as L into R is equal to a constant, or L is equal to M into root of theta, where M is a constant and theta is the tangent deflection angle. Okay. Now let us calculate the length of transition curve. So the length of transition curve, we are calculating the length of transition curve in order to fulfill three conditions. So what are the conditions fulfilled by the length of transition curve? First one is the rate of change of centrifugal acceleration need to be developed gradually. There should be a very gradual development of rate of change of centrifugal acceleration. Next one is the rate of introduction of designed super elevation should be at a reasonable rate. Okay. The rate of introduction of designed super elevation should be at a desired reasonable rate. And third one is the minimum length by the empirical formula. So rate of change of centrifugal acceleration. At the tangent point, the centrifugal acceleration v square by r is 0 at the radius r is infinity. At the end of the transition, radius r has the minimum value of Rm. Hence, centrifugal acceleration, which is distributed over the entire length of the transition curve. So we have to make sure that the centrifugal acceleration is developing at a slow rate. If the centrifugal acceleration is developed at a very fast rate, what will happen? It will create a lot of discomfort to the passengers, and also the driver will not be able to steer properly. Okay. So the rate of change of centrifugal acceleration is very much important in calculating the length of transition curve, because if the rate of change of centrifugal acceleration is at a very slow rate, then there is a very less chance of causing discomfort for the passengers if the vehicle is traveling at the design speed. Okay. So larger the length of transition, lower will be the rate at which centrifugal acceleration is introduced. So in order to make sure that the centrifugal acceleration is introduced at a lower rate, a larger length of the transition curve need to be done. So from this consideration, we can write the rate of change of centrifugal acceleration C is equal to V square by Ls into R, where V square is the, what is V square? It is the design speed, V meter per second. Ls is the length of transition curve. And what about R? R is the radius. Okay. So R is the radius, L is the length of transition curve, and V is the velocity, or V is the design speed. Okay. So this is the rate of change of acceleration, rate of change of centrifugal acceleration. Next one, Actually, for finding out the value of C, that is the rate of centrifugal acceleration, IRC have given a formula that C is equal to 80 divided by 75 plus V meter per second cube. This formula is applicable only if the value of C is between 0.5 and 0.8. So which means that the rate of centrifugal acceleration will have a minimum value of 0.5 and maximum value of 0.8. It should be having a value between 0.5 and 0.8. Now, once the value of C, once you obtain the value of C from this expression, you can calculate the length of transition curve. The length of transition curve can be obtained as LS is equal to V cube divided by CR. Length of transition curve is LS, V cube, V is the design speed, C is the rate of centrifugal acceleration, and CR is the radius of the curve. So from the rate of centrifugal acceleration, you can find out the length of the transition curve. Okay. If in this expression, V, design speed, is given in kilometer per hour, then you can modify the formula as length of transition curve LS is equal to 0.215 capital V cube, where capital V stands for the design speed, 0.215 V cube divided by CR. LS is the length of transition curve. C is the allowable rate of change of centrifugal acceleration, and R is the radius of the circular curve. Another way in which you can decide the length of transition curve is by the rate of introduction of super elevation. First one was the rate of change of centrifugal acceleration, and the second method is how the super elevation is introduced, or what is the rate at which there is a change in the introduction of super elevation. So in case of an open country, when a high value of super elevation need to be introduced, it is not desirable to raise normally the best method to introduce super elevation is to raise the outer edge of the pavement, right? But in case of open countries, it is not desirable to raise the outer edge of the pavement. So what you are doing is the length of transition curve should be at least 150 times the total amount by which outer edge of the pavement is to be raised. Okay. Or you can do one more thing. The transition curve length may be reduced. How there is a reduction obtained? It can be reduced by allowing an increase in differential gradient of 1 in 100 in built-up areas and 1 in 60 on hill roads. So depending on the rate at which super elevation is introduced, don't worry, we'll be solving some problems. At that point, this concept will be more clear. Okay. So if E is the rate of super elevation designed, and WE is the extra widening provided. W is the width of the pavement and WE is the extra widening provided. You can write the length of transition curve as LS is equal to EN by 2 into W plus WE, where N means 1 in N is the change of super elevation. So small e stands for super elevation. N is the rate of change of super elevation is 1 in N divided by 2 into W plus WE, where W is the width of pavement and WE is the extra widening provided. I hope you know what is meant by extra widening. Extra widening means it is the sum of mechanical widening plus psychological widening. Okay. Another method by which the length of transition curve can be made is by using empirical formula. So the first method was by considering the rate of change of centrifugal acceleration. Second method is by the rate of change of super elevation. And third method is by considering the empirical formula. So this empirical formula will be applied to the different terrains. Okay, depending on the terrain, depending on the type of terrain, there are different empirical formula for the length of transition curve. According to IRC standard, the length of horizontal transition curve should not be less than the value given by the following equation for terrain classification. So you can use this equations and find out the value and make sure that whatever length of transition curve you introduce is not less than the value obtained by this empirical relationship. For plain and rolling terrain, length of transition curve is equal to 2.7 V square by R. V is the design speed in kilometer per hour. In this expression, V is in capital letter, which means that the unit of V is kilometer per hour. Length of transition curve is equal to 2.7 V square by R. For mountainous and steep terrain, length of transition curve is equal to V square by R. Okay. So this is how the length of transition curve. Now we will have to solve some numerical problems also based on this. Then it will be more clear to you. Okay. Okay, so we'll do one thing. We'll solve some numerical problems on this length of horizontal transition curve. Okay. Okay. So this is the question. Calculate the length of transition curve and shift using the following data. The given data include design speed is 65 km per hour. Radius of circular curve is 220 meter. Allowable rate of introduction of super elevation is 1 in 150. Design speed is 65. Radius of circular curve is 220. Rate of introduction of super elevation is 1 in 150. And pavement width including extra widening is 7.5 meter. Okay. So this is the given data. Now, length of transition curve as per the allowable rate of centrifugal acceleration. We have seen the expression for determining the length of transition curve. So I'm directly going to the problem. According to the allowable rate of centrifugal acceleration, the length of transition curve is, first of all, you have to find out the allowable length of centrifugal acceleration. C is equal to 80 by 75 plus V, where V is the design speed, that is 65 km per hour. So the rate of centrifugal acceleration is 0.57 meter per second cube. I told that the value of C should be between 0.5 and 0.8. But here it is okay. The value is 0.57, which is between 0.5 and 0.8. So the length of transition curve LS is equal to 0.0215 V cube divided by CR. Okay, the formula was explained in the previous section. So you are solving it. You are obtaining the value of length of transition curve as 47.1 meter. Now, by the allowable rate of introduction of super elevation, E is equal to V square divided by 225 R. So V square means 65 square divided by 225 into R. Radius of circular curve is 220. So the super elevation rate is 0.085. Now, the maximum allowable super elevation. Here we have obtained the rate of super elevation as 0.085, but there is an upper limit for the maximum limit of super elevation. It should be only 0.07. So what you have to do is, you have to limit the value of super elevation. You cannot give a value more than 0.07. Limit the value of super elevation as 0.07. Now the safety against skidding need to be checked. So the coefficient of lateral friction F is equal to V square by 127R minus E. So V square by 127R means 65 square by 127 into 220 minus 0.07. So the coefficient of friction is equal to 0.15 minus 0.07 is equal to 0.08. So the value of super elevation rate of 0.07 is safe for the design speed of 65 km per hour. Now the total width of pavement is 7.5 meter. So the total raise of outer edge, provision of super elevation means we are raising the outer edge of the pavement with respect to inner edge. Okay. So the total raise of the pavement with respect to center line E by 2 is equal to EB by 2, where E is the super elevation 0.07 into B is the width of pavement 7.5 divided by 2. So 0.26 meter. Now the rate of introduction of super elevation is 1 in 150. So the length of transition curve is En by 2, where E by 2 is equal to 0.26 into rate of introduction of super elevation is 150. So 0.26 into 150 is equal to 39 meter. Now minimum value of length of transition curve is equal to 2.7 V square by R. 2.7 into 65 square divided by R is 220. So 52 meter is the length. Okay. So that is it. There is one more problem. You can note down the problem, the solution you can try for yourself. Okay. Note down the problem. A national highway passing through rolling terrain in heavy rainfall area has a horizontal curve of radius 500 meter. Design the length of transition curve assuming suitable data. What is given? Rolling terrain, heavy rainfall area, and the horizontal curve is having a radius of 500 meter. What you are asked, you are supposed to find out the length of transition curve. You can assume the suitable data. So try to solve this problem on your own. More problems I'll be giving for practice. Okay. So we'll stop this session. We'll meet in the next session.